Alright, so I'm working on the Corolla again, and what I'm doing is trying to stuff a Moser 9-inch rear end into a 69 Corolla. And as you can see, it actually fits pretty well. There's enough space for it. Should have a decent amount of travel and all that stuff. But one of the things I didn't really account for is that this hub is very deep. This is pretty thick right here, as you can see. And on the original rear end, which has a 48-inch wheel mounting surface, you can see the hub depth it's pretty thin. So it's not really. I was unable to account for that until I had this rear end in front of me, and then I can see like, okay, that's kind of an issue. So one of the things I had to do with this leaf spring perch is open up the outside and leave the inside the same. It's a 3-inch tube. The outside is 3.5 inch. So as you can see, the U-bolts are different sizes. This one's 3.5 inch and this one's 3 inch. And I also had to make him some leaf spring mounts. So these are going to become the lower mounts, and I had to make these basically from scratch. So as you can see, I had these laser cut. These are from Cut Sim. They send stuff in like 2 days now. It's pretty crazy. So I just had these made out of quarter plate, and I'm going to bend them up right now in my press, and then I'm going to weld some 1-inch bar stock into the center of it to give it some strength. And so yeah, this is the process. Here we go. Alright, so I got the plates bent up, and I got the bar stock cut, and then I drilled a hole. This is 9/16 hole to match these, and then so what this will do is go like that, and then that'll allow the centering pin to go through. I'm going to use a 9/16 bolt to center them all, and then I'm going to weld these up right now. So there we go, we're welding. Well, I got the leaf spring mounts all welded up, so these are pretty strong now. TIG welded everything with 309. Now these are steel, but I like to use 309. So there you go. So now they're pretty strong, and now I can put them on the car, bolt them up to the leaf springs, put some pressure on them, and then weld. Well, I have to set the pinion angle, but then I can weld the perches on the rear end. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, well, anyways, so I've got the purchase all tacked in here, and then I also tacked it in the shock mounts. So I test fit everything earlier. Brakes clear. There's very little clearance, but you know, clearance is clearance. And then I had to straddle one of the U-bolts. But yeah, we don't have a whole ton of room to work with here for the shock, so I'm gonna do an 80/86 shock. Should work fine. And, I don't even know what to make of it. So I'm gonna drop it now and do lots of welding, and that should be it. Send it off to powder coating. Yeah, onward we travel. So let's do this. Let's drop it and weld it. So we got the leaf perches burned in, and then the shock mounts burned in. Diggy. Take a tig. This side too. Put the bolt in. Oh, it's pretty decent. Should be plenty strong for 150 horsepower and a 1,800 pound car. So there you go. I'm gonna load it up and take it to powder coating, and then yeah, once that gets back, we can take care of everything, put it all in, put it all back together, and that'll be that. The car will have a rear end. I can roll it around again. It's good stuff. There we go. Christopher, ba-boom, ba-boy. All right, so back on the Corolla. And I finally got the rear end back from powder coating. Looks pretty nice. Ain't mad at it. It's all black, and it's just black. And I got the leaf spring purchased in too. Guess I don't need your help. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to put it in today and load it up with all the goodness from Moser and Wilwood and everybody else. So here we go. Let's get after it. All right, so I got the rear end. I just put it in here, and then I got to silicone this thing. And then throw the third member in. Alright, so I got the housing just placed in here for now, and then got all the studs pressed in. The lighting kind of sucks. And then I got the RTV sealant on there. So I'm gonna, well, I guess I could show you all the wilwood stuff here. This is all the wilwood stuff. You can see it's got backing plates with emergency brakes, and then calipers and rotors, and then all the hardware, the backing plate, and then centric rings and all the good stuff. So get all this stuff thrown in now. Alright, so one of the things you have to do with a wilwood brake kit is center the caliper on the bracket and the rotor. So they give you some shims for that. So I'm just going to make that happen real quick. Alright, so probably kind of hard to see, but with the bolt going straight in with no shims or anything, you can see it's pretty offset to the outside of the rotor. So I'm going to add a few shims and then try and center it and see how it looks. So these are the little shims they give you. I'm going to start with like 3. I think 3 is the number. They're super thin, so. So again, probably a little harder to see, but I went a little too far, so maybe 2 shims is the number. Maybe 1 shim. That's a good bit. It's a good bit offset. That actually looks pretty good. So, let's see, it's kind of hard to see, but that's pretty well centered. So there we go. So I'll throw the other shims in, and or I guess I should say the shim, and then bolt these back on, and we're all good. Alright, so it's all bolted in now. Here you can see it's pretty well centered. They're kind of a pain in the butt to install these, I'm not gonna lie. You had to really do some, finger jiu-jitsu to get your get the backing plate on and all that stuff, but there it is, all bolted up. Now it's even got parking brakes, and this thing has cables on it, so I'll have to figure out a way to adapt those, but yeah, there you go. So I haven't put the U-bolts in yet because they actually go last. Otherwise you can't get to this bolt right here. That bolt, yeah. It's close, but like I said, it fits, tiny car with a monster rear end. So there you go. So now I just gotta do the other side. Alright, so this is the bare axle housing, as you can see. And then this is the backing plate with the emergency brake, and then this is the axle retainer. So you put this on first, then you slip the axle in, right? And so there's a big fucking axle right here. Slip the axle in, and then you have to kind of wiggle this thing around and get it placed like that, and then start all the washers and nuts. So it's a hot pain, but yeah, I got it done on the other side, so I don't know. Here we go, time lapse time. There, biggity bang. So we got the whole rear end bolted in now. Got the leaf springs, I'm sorry, the U-bolts. U-bolts are all secured. They go in between the shock mounts there. You see I got the brake calipers centered. I don't have the pads in there yet, but I'll come back to that. And yeah, you can see it's pretty tight right there. It's tight clearance, but clearance is clearance. So that's all good. That works. Let's see the rotors. And there you go, that's a pretty chunky monkey right there. And then the third member. I really like the way the Ford 9-inch third member kind of drops right off, because Toyota third members don't do that. They kind of, you know, they kind of hang out there in the front. So as you can see, we don't have a ton of room under the floor and stuff, but the way this drops off, it seems like it'll clear pretty well. Just waiting on Brian to bring me some shoes so I can drop this thing down on the ground and actually see where the ride height is. And I don't think we'll have to add any blocks or anything to adjust height. I think it'll probably be pretty decent where it is, but just have to see. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw the shocks on now. Shocks are gonna be just AE86, just a KYB gas shock, nothing too fancy. You know, they have an upper stud and a lower eyelet, so there we go. So I'm just going to throw these on real quick. Alright, there we go. So the shocks are all buttoned up now. Everything bolted in. Bolt up there. There you go. That's how you do a 9-inch Ford rear end and a 69 Corolla. Get this chunky monkey third member. Got 355 gears and a Detroit Trutrac. He's going to run pretty small wheels, so he wants a decent highway cruising speed. That's pretty alright. I like it.